still not use anything, still not have a plan and all of that. So it's really important that you follow through and execute on those things to really have an impact on your business. So I'm just going to give you some explanation around the 8 categories. We went over the first one, which was leads generated and what to track. It's important you know this because as you start to do your strategies on your 411, you kind of need to know what things you're doing. Okay? So on the listings, I'm going to have people start to read some of these. You know, just like you, my voice is kind of starting to go out a little bit. So John, can you read listings and what's on that slide?
Yes, so let's track seller listing appointments, seller listings taken, and buyer listings taken. Full slide?
Yes.
Track with CGI. If you choose to track only 2 numbers, track your leads and your seller listings.
Okay, so everybody got that? So you're going to track those items when you're talking about listings, okay? Carrie, can you read contracts written for me?
Sure. What to track on contracts written will be number of units written, total volume written, and your gross income written.
Okay.
So is that your commission?
Yes.
Okay.
So your GCI. So you're going to track the number of units, volume, and GCI on the contracts written and contracts closed. Who would like to read that for me?
All right. What to track? Number of units closed, total volume closed, GCI, track with CGI.
So all of these things, just to kind of reiterate, CGI it will track for you all of your closings, all of the listings taken, and the gross commission income. What it doesn't track is your listing appointments. Now, here's one thing to keep in mind. I've had people go, well, that's not accurate. It only knows what is in Winmore. So, if you got a listing on November 30th, this Friday, and you didn't get it uploaded into the system until December 3rd, it's only going to know it's a December listing taken, okay? So the aha around that would be pay attention to making sure that within 24 hours you're getting everything, all that's needed in the proper channels so that it uploads, and then it'll track it. So if you go, well, I had 6 listings in November and 5 show up, it's a very high probability that there was one that fell into December. And vice versa. If you only had 5 and 7 show up, it could be that you had some from October that fell into November because they weren't uploaded into Winmore in time.
So you're saying uploaded to Winmore?
Yeah, so Winmore is when you do the things that you're supposed to do on your side for the listing, then Winmore is the system that then captures that information. So you're not really putting it in Winmore, you're putting it in the other tool.
Which is, I'm sorry, I don't even know what, because I've had one listing and it's closed, and I've got another active listing right now, so I want to make sure that I've done whatever I need to do, but I don't know if that even.
It's just what
It's what Michelle tracks when you put your stuff in.
Green sheet?
So is it
or-
Winmore is
Yeah.
Michelle's, that what she does every month to turn into international and that, so.
So as soon as you get a listing, you start your green sheet then, is that what drives?
Yeah.
You submit your listing and that will.
When you say submit, are you saying MLS, or are you saying .live?
That's what I'm asking.
The office?
The company.
So I'm trying to figure out what you mean when you say
So
submit.
it would be
Right.
.loop that would track it. That's your side of it. So when it's in .loop, then Winmore's gonna pick it up.
So you have to actually submit to the office.
Yes.
Are you sure that it's supposed to
The
submit?
MLS doesn't
The
the KW MLS. So let's get some clarity on that for you because I came from another market center and I don't want to tell you something that's different in the process because a couple market centers do it differently. So I know once it's in .loop it will track, and if you're inputting your listings to the KW listings, it will also track. So either way, as long as it's in one of those, what happens though a lot of times is we have listing agreement in hand and neither of those other two, okay? So make sure you sign in, And Dawn, would you do me a favor and write that note so when I send out my email, I can make sure that I send out the clarity around
You have
that?
to, you can't just put it in dot loop, you have to actually submit it to the office for it to.
Just like right now, if I look at the 2018 goals on Kelly, it says 1 of 8 listings taken. But I have 1 that's closed, and I have an active one right now, so I should have 2 listings, and this is showing 1. So it's something is not.
Yeah, and for this month, it's so here, it runs behind right now, it's not live yet. So what's gonna be live is gonna be your listing appointments. And what'll happen is on the 10th of next month, it will update all your November numbers.
So your new listing that you got was in a November or
It's
October?
October 25th.
So it should show, it's
It should show unless it wasn't in the submit.
depends on when you get the submit.
Yeah, it depends on when you submit, because if it's not submitted, it's not gonna pick it up, okay? So we'll get real clear around
Some
that.
market centers have a rule that you have to submit within 48 hours of getting a
Yes.
listing, so they know that the office has a listing for just liability reasons.
Yeah, I always say 24, I think 48 is the standard from a legal standpoint, is that correct?
Yeah,
Or is it 72?
So even if it's,
Submitting it would be for
even
first
if it's
month.
a future date of listing, should you submit right away or wait until that date comes?
Yeah, like a pocket listing that you.
Are you withholding it from the MLS?
I have to say that I've got a listing, it's gonna go into effect, in a week or 2.
Whatever date is the effective date of the listing
That's
is
when
when
you
I
submit, but-
put it, yeah.
That's probably what I was thinking. I'll check that.
So just take a look at that and see, and I'll get some clarity around, because like I said, different market centers have, we didn't even use dot loop where I came from, we used Skyslope. So, I mean, they do things differently, so I just wanna make sure when we're talking about the submit part that we've got some clarity around
It's
it.
not, you submitted it, it should then end up in the Winmore system as evidence of the work.
I do know Winmore gets information from dot loop, so it feeds that. All right, so money, what is it that we're gonna do with money? Who would like to read this slide?
Track GCI, budget, net income, track with CGI.
So I'm gonna park it here just for a minute, because this is the part that people usually don't track. So let's just kind of have some dialogue for a minute around why it would be important to track the money and your profitability and your budget. Who has some ahas from when we went through the budget model and some of the things that you're gonna implement into your plan?
It might be a way to, a way for you to make sure that you're not so lean, you know exactly where you're at business-wise.
So you know you need to adjust.
Yes.
And when you're tracking money, you're looking at the business you want to become, not the business that you are, right? So when you want to have a business worth owning and a career worth having, this is an important piece to that. Because you can have sales and gross commission and not be profitable, right? So this is your safety measure to make sure that you're profitable, is when you track something. You cannot improve what you don't measure, right? So if you're not measuring it, how can you ever improve on it, right? So this is a way for you to measure where you're at, okay? It's like the thermostat. All right, who would like to read the slide on people? Okay,
Recruiting, who do I need? Where will I find them? Training and consulting.
so this, part of leverage is people, systems, and tools, right? So understanding when we need leverage to execute on our business plan, what does that mean in the way of people? And these are the things that we would track on that. The new hire calculator. So all of you that signed in there, I will be sending that out to you so you have the electronic version and you can actually do the calculator and see when it makes sense. And what is it costing you? That's what I challenge you to think about it, is what is it costing you by wearing the hat on everything? And when are you positioned to invite leverage into your business? And then we have number 7 is systems and tools. What to track, what new systems are needed, what improvements or upgrades do we need for our current systems, right? Now, everyone's business could look a little different and still be using the models, right? Because the dynamics are different. Different people on different teams. You could be doing all of the business yourself right now, and how you leverage that is gonna look different. Your 3 to 5 lead generation sources might be different. Sandy might be focusing on different 3 than what, John's focusing on, right? So it's gonna look different. What's important is that you're following the models and systems for the leverage that you need. Personal education, what to track, what knowledge do I need, and what does my staff need? And that's where you would look at the gaps in your business and say, what classes should I be attending this year? And I would take it a step further. If there is a class that you feel like should be on calendar and it's not on calendar, Dawn and I, we're having a business strategy meeting this month to take a look and plan everything for 2019. And we would love to have your feedback and your input of classes you would like to see. So you'll know, because clarity's power, you're gonna have your business plan, you'll know where the gaps are. Let us know, slip us a quick email, and we'll make sure when we have the planning session that we incorporate those classes that are needed most to help you move your business forward.
So you guys aren't gonna frown upon putting in a class when it's not created yet?
No, I mean, most classes are already created, to be honest with you.
I got
There's,
one for her that isn't created, that's it.
oh,
Yeah, there's one that she couldn't get CE on, but she's still doing. That's it.
oh, continuing education.
So put it on the list.
Okay, anything to do with continuing education, he's your man. He's the guy you
It's still not done, so.
pick it up with the complaint department. All right, so here's setting your goals. Ask yourself, is your goal big enough, right? Remember the rubber band? You want to stretch yourself, not to the point where it's unrealistic. Just stretch yourself. Though many of you said your aha was that your goals weren't big enough when we went through some of this process. So I would challenge you, is your goal big enough? You want to have the key numbers as far as the goals are concerned that we've already calculated earlier today. You've got your net income that you want to make. We went through that earlier today. You know what your GCI goal is, because what you net is going to be different than the gross commission income that you need to pull in order to net that in your pocket. We have the model for the expenses, the cost and sales, and you know how many METs you need in your database and how many not METs to hit your goal, right? And you also know what lead generation sources you're going to seek, that you're 100% committed to making happen this year. So those are all the dynamics of doing the 411 like we spoke about earlier. So we're like on the home run stretch here. All right, so what you're going to do, we're going to focus on your 1 year goal today. What I want you to do when you leave here is to refine that and work on a 3-year, 5-year plan. Okay, bless you. Using the GPS. Remember earlier today we talked about the GPS, which is the 1 main strategy goal, and then the 3 priorities. And then from the 3 priorities, you have your 5 strategies under each one. That's what you're going to do when you go to do your 3 and 5 year plan as well, okay? So for the sake of not overwhelming everyone, we're going to start with the 1 year. And then I encourage you, most people who set a 5-year plan do more than they ever expected because they've got it written down, and you cannot improve what you don't measure, right? So it is important after we leave that when you refine the 411 and you refine your plan, that you then go and do a future planning session on 3 to 5 years. So focus. Anyone can do it, and not everyone will. So the rule of thumb is that 20% of you will walk out of here, you'll implement the plan and you'll execute it, and 80% of you won't, right? So prove me wrong. That's usually what happens. So what I want to stress that we talked about earlier is when you haven't done any lead generating, start somewhere. If you're doing 1 hour a day, increase it to 1.5 or 2 hours. And from there, then you're gonna increase again. Don't, set it up so high that you don't do it, right? So when you're setting your goals, you wanna make sure you're committed to the activity that's gonna generate the result. Start somewhere. Don't get so overwhelmed that you pull back on the gas and you just don't do anything. You want to have a personal plan. You want a time block. So what's on your 411 needs to show up on your calendar. And why do you think that would be important?
So you don't schedule anything else during that time.
Yes, right? So your big rocks are on there. Brenda, how about you? Were you raising your hand or did you just have the pen in there?
I have my pen from there.
Okay.
So if you schedule it, then if somebody calls and they want your time during that time, you can say, I already have an appointment during that time. I have this time scheduled.
So that's what I do when I'm time blocking is I put on my calendar potential appointments, right? Because anytime I'm on the phone with someone that I could impact their life to come to Keller Williams, I want to make sure I already have time blocked for them. So I have Tuesday at 3 o'clock or Thursday at 3:30 available. Which one works best for you? Time block your potential appointments, and then when you set the appointment, you turn around and I change the color on it. So I know now there's actually a name on there. This is a real appointment, right? So like we talked about earlier, sometimes, we're the best negotiators and our minds will play tricks on us. So I trick my mind into knowing that I'm already committed ahead of time so that my calendar doesn't fill up on things that shouldn't be on there. So these are the rules when you're time blocking. Put all of your family, things you do with congregations, fellowships, things like that, nonprofits, on there first, right? When you have vacation time or you're doing soccer for your kids during a certain season, put all that on there first, and then go in and put your big rocks in there, right? That have to do with your activities. And then when you need to schedule things that are actually your 80%, you will have time to do some of those things. Your big rocks are out of the way first, though, so that you're doing the most important activities that are going to give you 80% results. Those are time blocked in. Those are your big rocks. Those are certainly your big rocks. Get accountability. You all developed accountability partners at the beginning. I would say by not utilizing the accountability partner, you're doing yourself a disservice. Everyone should be in some level of coaching. And that's why in the budget model, it has, that you're investing in education and things yourself. The reason for that is that when you have accountability through a coach, is that they're going to use care and candor. They're going to care about what you're doing, and they're going to be brutally honest with you when they need to be brutally honest with you, right? And I would say, in life, some people have coaches for different things. It's important, though, that you have some level of accountability because that's what's going to keep moving your business forward. It's just really important that you have that because we all I use the example, how many of you take a shower every day? I'm not going to really have to raise your hand because I'm hoping everybody does some form of bathing daily, right? Well, how can we do that? Because the funk comes back, right? The smell, you have to take a shower and a bath. And that's what happens when you need someone to get you out of the drunk monkey phase, the junk that you allowed in your mindset to happen. You need some measure of accountability around that. Now, you can choose not to, and that's fine. I'll just tell you this, is that people in the music profession, what do? They practice all the time. And do they have a coach? Yes. Those that are very successful do. The quarterbacks of football teams, not Texas, they
That's right, she's picked it up already.
they have a coach.
She's gonna make it.
If they told their coach they weren't going to show up for practice, what would happen?
You're gone.
Do they know how to play football? They know how to play football. They need a coach to help them to be the best that they possibly can be. So I just want to encourage you that if you don't have accountability like that, you need to make sure that you have accountability in your life. It will help you move your business forward. You want to create a personal plan that you implement and stretch yourself, having the goals that are still realistic, however, stretch yourself. And when you don't know what it takes, like when you first walked in here today, did you know how many units you needed? Did you know how many you needed in your database? Did you know what the volume looked like? For most people didn't, right? And it was kind of an eye-opener of exactly what it took. Whether it was, this is what I need to do for my business, or, oh my gosh, that goal's kind of low. I can do that. I can go on 2 listing appointments every week, right? So it challenged you to stretch and to be that rubber band. We talked about not being in busyness and to actually be purposeful in business, right? Remember, we teach others how to treat us. So if you're always telling people that you're busy, you might just train them to go to another agent for their business. And I've seen that happen, where people said, well, you just didn't want to bother you. You were so busy, right? So be careful the words that you speak and how you position that. Be about your business, not in busyness, right? Very, very important. And you want to get focused. Be real clear. Getting focused is easy. Keeping it is not. Right? And that's where the 20-80 rule comes into play. Focus feels like routine, and accountability helps you to focus and refocus, okay? So the accountability process, for those of you that we all decided who your accountability partner was in class today, you're going to set goals, you're going to do the activities, you're going to measure results, you're going to evaluate the process, and you're going to make adjustments. So to be an effective accountability partner, you're going to ask them, what are your goals? What are the activities that you did? How did that go? Is it on track, not on track, right? What could you do differently this week that you didn't do last week that can help you reach your goal or move forward in your business, and make adjustments to what you need to do to bridge the gap? Is it the 15th protocol? Is it just seeing what that gap is on a weekly basis through the 411? Maximize the power of CGI. It's so simple now. It's on the phone. Update my listing appointment, then you just push a button. I mean, how easy is that, right? Because when you measure it, you can improve upon it, right? If you're not measuring it, you're just kind of out there not knowing what to do next. Listing appointments is your job interview. Remember that? You have a 48-hour to 50-hour job, and then you're unemployed. So are you going to do the activities that are necessary to stay employed throughout the process so that you're profitable? And we went through the 411 earlier. So what you're going to do is the 411 is going to be in your book. You're going to set your yearly, the annual goal. Then you're going to break it down to what you need to do each month and what are the strategies each week that you're going to do. Now, you're not going to fill out every week like we talked about. You're going to fill out week 1. This is perfect because we're just now going to be in December next week. So you can fill it out all the way as if it's your December goal. And then you're going to want to, what I do is I time block on my calendar on Fridays to review my 411. And I showed you mine where it has the green and the red. I go through and I evaluate what I did for the week, what my next week needs to look like. So whatever day that is for you, make sure that it's on your calendar. And then the first time you do it, it takes about 30 minutes because you're getting the hang of it, right? And after you do that, literally, I block 30 minutes. It takes about 15 minutes just to do an assessment of where you're at and re-engage and refocus on what you need to do for the following week. So make sure that you allow, though, at the end of December, a little extra time to make sure that you have your next year's plan together. So now for today, what we did is we went through next year's numbers, okay? So go ahead and do your 411 based on next year's numbers. And what I would say to you is it doesn't have to be perfect when you walk out of here. Go home, look at your actual conversion rates and your numbers and fine tune it. At least you'll have the foundation so that when you go home, you know kind of where to go with it and what to do. Okay, in your weekly, you want to limit it to 6 to 8. You heard me talk about lead generation levers. I like to call the activities levers the lead generation levers. You don't want to have more than 6 to 8 on the weekly goal because it will start to be overwhelming. And then are you really focusing on the 20%? That would be the challenge, right? You're probably focusing on the to-do list rather than the big rocks. So make sure you kind of go back to what are my big rocks. Keep your 411 concise to what those big rocks are and what that looks like. And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually create our 411. So turn with me. Someone asked for my 411 because I showed it to you guys today. So again, those who are signed in, I'll send my 411. I'll send the calculator on the hire and some clarity around the input. And you'll have some of those things that you can go back and refine based on what you see, okay? And so if you turn to page 92, your 411 is right here, okay? So remember I kind of outlined it for you earlier today. Before we start writing that real quick, I want to just stop for a second and ask you what some of your ahas have been for today.
A lot.
What's one thing you're gonna take today and implement in your business?
I'm gonna go figure out how to do the Kelly, because I'm a playlist, and I'm gonna try to figure out my GCI and how to get my numbers, because I really don't get it, and I'm gonna have to find somebody to help me, because I'm so overwhelmed. This is what stops me every year. I don't know how to get to that, I don't know how to get my numbers, I don't know my numbers.
Yeah, so I don't want you to be overwhelmed, and there's so many great tools. So what I would say is if any of you walk out of here and you start to feel that way, come see me so I can just walk you through, because we went over a lot today. All I ask is that you attempt and intend on doing as much as you can to really have an understanding, go back through the notes, and then come see me if you're really, I'll talk you off the ledge. Okay, because that's important to me. There's nothing more important to me than everyone who invested all day today to actually have a plan that they can execute on in 2019 and have it be the most successful year they've ever had, whether you're new in the business or you've been around a long time. So just know that there's resources. My office is right around the corner. First thing you walk in, it used to be a conference room. It's right there. I am in this market center on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that kind of gives you my schedule and everything. If you slip me a quick email, I will put you on calendar. I live by my calendar. I'm very purposeful with that. So that's how it would be best to get in touch with me. Don is a great resource. He knows all this material. He's taught these things before. So he is also a resource. If you can't get a hold of me, he can also help you. Vickie Davis can help you. Janae is our tech guru. Slip her an email. If you're having problems with the app and things like that, she can help you get that going, okay? So I will talk you off the ledge. You don't need to feel like you're gonna jump off the deep end, okay? What are some other things that you've learned today that you're gonna implement?
I gotta find an accountability coach.
I already found you one. Grant, I already talked to him about your spirit partner.
Peer partner.
Now what?
So if you guys ever want to know about coaching, you can see me.
She's looking out.
Because I have coaching that I can give to you, meet with you on a regular basis. Anyone who's sold more than 3 transactions falls into, I'm going to tell you what coaching looks like. There's a difference between mentor and coaching, okay? And there's a difference between accountability partners in here. So as accountability partners in here, you're gonna go through the conversation that we went through. It's always good to have people within the market center that you're accountability partners with. That's not the same as a coach. If you have under 3 transactions, Dawn has a lot of classes that are very important for you, that are like, how do you do this? Focus groups are every level of production, right? And he knows his stuff, and he certainly can help. He's a resource for us. If you have less than 36 transactions and more than 3, then I'm the productivity coach. Come see me, I'll talk to you. I'm always willing to help. I'll let you know what that looks like. When you have more than 36 contracts, sometimes it could be at the point of 24. MAPS coaching offers excellent, excellent coaching, and it moved my business forward and what I do. So I'm a big believer in that, and that's why I wanted to be a MAPS coach, because of the impact it had on me personally and professionally, and how I've grown as a mom, a wife, and a business person. You cannot put a price on for me, so that's why I wanted to be a part of that. So there are resources for you, and it's just a conversation. So if you want to have a conversation about it, I'm not here to push you and tell you you've got to do something. However, I would say, what's it costing you? What can your business move forward by having true accountability? And I know that Grant he also will mentor. He does focus groups in Midwest City. I know he's a great resource as well. So you know, this market center is pretty blessed because there's so many different people and different perspectives to help, that there's always a resource to go to get what you need, right? You should never lack in that area. So if you're just not sure of the direction, I'd be happy to help you with that, okay? So you want to make sure that you follow up with your accountability partner, and we're gonna right now have you go through your 411, and that's how we'll end, because we had some ahas. Now I have to ask you, does anybody in here still have a drunk monkey about it? I want you to tell me what it is so we can identify that and kick it to the curb. Any drunk monkeys in here about the business plan? I know you expressed yours. What
I
are some
think a
others?
lot of people feel like MJ, because I have done this business plan, not this exact one, several times, and I just leave so overwhelmed and thinking, oh my God. But I think I get the big aha today, because I know I need the systems. I mean, I have my sphere, I have all that, but when I leave here, just like that paper you gave us about how to call the sphere, A, Z, the alphabet. I mean, that's so cool. But just knowing that y'all are here to help us, I don't feel as overwhelmed today as I normally do when I leave here.
Well, that's good.
And there's a lot of information here.
There's a lot, and here's what I said: they did not build Rome in a day. Don't feel like you have to walk out if you're a master of this. That's not what this class is about, right? And what you get out of it will be different the next time. I would say repetition. It's always good to take this because, like you said, different points in your career, you're going to feel differently. So the 411 is kind of your foundation to start somewhere. And once you have that, then it's easy to build walls and add the countertops and the cabinets and all of those things, right? Kind of like building a house. So start there. Even if you didn't complete the 411, how many of you identified how many you need in your database? Raise your hand. How many identified what gross income you would need to make to net what you make? How many of you determined how many units you need to close this next year to hit your goal? How many of you knew that when you walked in the door? It's a win. It's a win. Even if you said, I'm done, I'm not going to do, I just would ask that you come see me so I can help you with your 411, because that's going to be the piece that keeps you moving forward, right? So you already won. Know our numbers for 2019. Do you know that? It's a win. You said today that would be worth your time at the end of the day, and you knew that. Do you feel like you have successful planning knowledge to reach CAP and beyond? all of you in here, as I looked around, had enough units that would get you to cap, right? And many of you beyond, right? And here's the key, the consistency. Now, we talked about how to be consistent, and that's the 411. That's the tool that helps you be consistent because it holds you accountable to that, right? So we already won. So don't get so caught up and consumed. This does not have to be perfect. Just jot down what you've already determined earlier today and put it now on that page. And then the other thing I'm going to send to you is the electronic version of that that's blank. So you'll have mine. You can utilize that, however, plagiarize it, whatever you want to do. Now, my goals are different because I have, my goals are based on the value I add to you and impacting lives coming to Keller Williams. It's very similar though. I'm very specific with numbers and things like that. So it'll give you a guide to see how it gets broken down and then refine it. Visit it every week, and every week you'll get better and you'll fine tune it. Don't get overwhelmed with it, okay? Because you already won. You already are walking out with more information than you came in with, and that's a win. Because now you know the measurement and you can improve. You can't improve when you don't know what you're measuring. So now you know what to measure. Okay, make sense? All right, so I'm gonna walk around. Go ahead and take that page, start filling that out. You can actually get that done within 30 minutes. And the good news is I'm getting you out of here early. We've been on time when we started and all of our breaks. You'll be done at the latest by 4:30, okay? So go ahead and start, and when you need help, let me know, and I'll walk
Do we
around.
need to kind of start on page 88 to work our?
If we already talked about page 88, so,
I think we have to make it